let's say you've been working out for a little while, but you're still a beginner. You just started training and you've been training for a week or two, maybe a few months, and you just feel discouraged. You feel like, what the fuck? I look around when I go into the gym, I see people kicking ass and everybody looks so in shape, but me, I just can't seem to be getting anywhere with my progress. If that is your sentiment, if you're feeling a bit discouraged, then stick around and find out what to do about that. What is up, people? Jean Carlos here with the Total Body Training Podcast, where I help people get lean, gain muscle, and build some damn confidence. And today's episode is feeling discouraged and what to do about it. I've got my little trusty little notebook here, purple little notebook, going to help me out. I've got notes that I have taken. Okay. So, if you've been lifting and you're new to lifting or any kind of training for that matter, sometimes you can be in a gym and you can be like, man, am I ever going to get better at this shit? I mean, literally, months could go by and you can start to feel discouraged about your own progress in perspective of other people's or just in perspective of your own. So you're just like, man, I really wish I could squat more weight, or I really wish I could do more. And that can make you feel like shit when you start thinking that way. And oftentimes if you feel discouraged, you can start to have this negative feedback loop, this negative conversation of when am I going to get better, and like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't seem like I can lose weight if you're trying to lose weight, or it doesn't seem like I can gain any weight if you're trying to gain weight. And that can be frustrating, going through that process in your mind. So here are a few things that I think will help you. And they are based off of my own experiences with that same sentiment. So yes, I have had that happen in my life. I have had moments where I just feel like, when am I going to get better at this? And if you're not careful, that little moment or that little sliver of a negative ass fucking thought can slip into your brain and make you give up. But we're not going to give up. What we're going to do is we're going to try these tips right here that personally have helped me. So, all right, the first thing you should know is that it's going to be tough. Now, what the hell do I mean by that? It ain't easy, folks. Some of us want it easy, but it ain't easy. And when we come into the gym, especially when we're a beginner, I would say this really applies for people who are just starting out. You might go into the gym and look around and see some other people that are in the gym just crushing it. So people that are squatting 300, 400 pounds, or even just people just doing basic stuff like running on a treadmill or doing something and making it look so gosh darn easy. And you might be over here just trying to get it done. So even just making it into the gym is tough for you. And, you go out there to try to do your squats and you are getting devastated. Your legs are shaking. You don't know how to do them. Maybe you hop on a treadmill and you're like out of breath in like 5 seconds while you look over and there's this chick in a tube top and short shorts and she's like doing it all phenomenal and great, and you're thinking, fuck, like how can I possibly do that? I want you to know that it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to progress. You should feel some sense of difficulty. That difficulty that you're encountering when you come into the gym, the difficulty you getting out of breath, is just because you haven't been doing it, right? If you were to give a child in elementary school trigonometry equation, okay, something really hard, and they hadn't learned basic math, would they be able to do it? No. In fact, I wouldn't be able to do that right now because I'm not studying trigonometry, if you know what I mean, or geometry or any of those things, any of the maths. But you get my point. If you don't have the credentials for the job at the moment, then don't be so hard on yourself. It's going to be tough. You should feel pretty beaten down after your workouts because you're new to it. So just be okay with the fact that it's going to be tough. Now, that being said, if you're comparing yourself to the chick again in the tube top and the short shorts running on the treadmill so ever gracefully, or the bro in the gym like this who is probably curling more weight than a lot of weight, then I'm not a backwards hat kind of guy. My recommendation is that you stop comparing yourself to that. Those people have been working on that stuff for a while. That chick who's running on the treadmill has been running for a while to get her active cardio or whatever, her cardio, what are we talking about here? Her cardiovascular system in the type of shape that she can to do what she's doing, right? The dude who's curling a ton of weight or squatting a lot of weight, the girl who's deadlifting a ton of weight, whatever the case might be, have been working on that for a while. They didn't just come in doing it. Now, sure, some people have a slight bit of a genetic advantage, maybe their weight, maybe their body, maybe they have more experience, right? But on average, if you don't have any experience, you're going to be rough the first few times. So what's my recommendation? My recommendation is that you compare yourself against yourself. So stop comparing yourself against other people and instead compare yourself against your own process. I'm getting lost. Compare yourself against your own progress each and every time you come into the gym, the gimnasio. So maybe the first time that you come into the gym, you can't do a squat for shit. And so you've got to practice and you've got a little dumbbell and you're doing maybe a box squat or you're doing something introductory you're learning. And, a month goes by and holy shit, now you can squat with a barbell, a whole 35 or 45 pounds on your back. Compare yourself against that. Look back and think, whoa, remember when I couldn't squat at all? When I was walking in and I was like quarter squatting and, when I was eventually doing like a goblet squat or some kind of balance squat, something like that. And now I'm using a barbell. I wonder where I'll be at in a month, 2 months, 3 months if I'm consistent. That is what you should be doing. Comparing yourself against your own progress instead of looking at other people and being like defeated in a sense by other people's progress. You aren't in their shoes. You shouldn't be where they're at. You are right where you need to be at based on the amount of work that you're putting in to your process and your progress. All right, what's the next one we got over here? All right, 3, the workouts don't own you. Ooh, this one is important. When we're working out, I almost considered calling the episode this, workouts don't own you. And I didn't write this. I had heard my speech coach, I was in speech for a number of years, tell me these words don't own you. I remember he said that in a conversation that we were having when we were about to do a speech tournament. And I always remember that. And I would use that on my own. I was like, this weight doesn't own me. This doesn't own me. It's a little mantra, a little thing that I say to myself because sometimes we can just feel discouraged. So we come into the gym, we have some kind of expectation. So maybe you are doing really great and you're about to squat 150 pounds, all right? Throw something out there, okay? And you go into the gym and you just can't do it one day, all right? Now you did it 2 or 3 weeks ago, you squatted 150, but for some reason today's more like 145 day or 140 day. You just feel tired, fatigued, and you can feel this sense that the workout owns you. Now, don't feel that way. Instead, you should look at, because why? Let me back up a little bit. Why you shouldn't feel like the workout owns you? Because if you let that get in your head, if you let the fact that you did something that you're not performing the same way that you performed the week before, something like that get in your head, it can be really discouraging. Instead, you can have a very real conversation with yourself and be like, this workout doesn't own me. What could I have done better? Should I have been doing this weight this week? Maybe I need to manage my fatigue better. Maybe I need to get better rest. How did I eat? Go through that whole process before you start putting yourself down and thinking that there's something that you can't do to solve the issue. The workout doesn't own you. You own it. Get proactive about the situation and don't wallow and think to yourself, well, geez, maybe today's not my day, and just move on and you'll be much happier. And literally just tell yourself this workout doesn't own you. Say that to yourself over and over and over again. If you're doing conditioning work, it can be super fatiguing. If you're picking up heavy weights, it can be tiring. Sometimes having a mantra to tell yourself when you feel like giving up, like this workout doesn't own you, can help keep you in check, keep you in line, and keep you motivated towards achieving your goal and staying on track. So the workouts don't own you. What do we got on here? All right, this is one that I think is really important. What things could you do to improve on? What things could you improve on? And then name one thing you did well. So those are actually numbers 4 and 5. So I'll read it again. what could you improve on? So at the end of every workout or at the end of training cycles, things like that, it's a good time for you to reflect on things you could do better. So maybe your squat depth is a little bit off and you recorded yourself, or you see yourself in a mirror, or your coach told you that, and you are going to have a conversation with yourself of, I need to do that better. My squat depth could be better. Next time I come in the gym, I will make it better. You can log that in. You can write a little note that says squat depth should be a little bit lower. And then when you come in, make a conscious effort during your warm-ups to focus on getting a little bit lower. When you start throwing on the weight, focus on going a little bit lower, and slowly and steadily, right, you'll improve that. So focus on one thing. I strongly recommend that people pick out one little thing at the end of each workout when you're a beginner to improve on. When you're a little bit more advanced, you can pick up a few other things, but it's really, really hard to get good at all the things at one time. I promise you that any powerlifter or weightlifter or anybody in fitness has things that they actively know they need to work on, but they don't fix them all at the same time. You just can't. You can't do everything. You're not Superwoman or Superman or Wonder Woman or Wonder Man. You are you, and you can only take so much. You can only juggle so much in that little old brain of yours. So pick one thing and work on it each and every time you come in the next time until it's fixed, and then keep an eye on it and move on to the next thing. All right, so that's my recommendation. Now, that being said, don't just leave it at that. Pick something out that you did well. I used to do this a while ago frequently because sometimes I needed to know that I was doing something well. Despite my ability to be rather positive, there are times in my life when I can dip into negativity, and that is never helpful for me. And when I was younger, I struggled with it a lot. And so, you know, if you're feeling a little bit like you're having an Eeyore day, you need to flip that around when you're in the gym. And one good way to do that is to end your workout with figuring out something that you did well. So maybe you benched really well. So the weight came up easily. You went up a little bit in weight, something like that. Maybe your deadlift was much cleaner, so your back was less round. You weren't, you were doing everything perfectly.